Yeah, I'm going to just do a quick fast blast about the download I had last night. I don't remember it fully. I wrote it down as soon as I woke up. So I'm just going to minimize this now and try and read it off the screen. So I hope this is working. It was actually about ET. Now, before I went to sleep last night, I was talking to somebody about, what's happening now. They believe that it's an ET takeover. And, we were just talking about that, and she added me to a group with some other men. So as other men with some men in, and I was getting blasted really by the energy of people that believe that kind of thing. So it was good for me just before I put my head down. So I went into the astral, and I was face to face with Bianchi. Now, I have obviously, as I've known him in 2009, wrote a book, In for the Kill. That was back in 2009. Back and fro letters for a period of 2 years, I'd say. And then after my book, he stopped corresponding with me. But then recently, after the COVID lockdown, a friend of his contacted me and said, blah, 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 he's on this little app you can get on your phone, which is an American thing. They don't have it over here for our prisoners. And apparently, I don't know if all prisoners get little tablets in their cells. And I know we don't over here with our prisoners. Apparently, America gives their prisoners a TV and a tablet. We don't have that. Us get nothing actually. Kenneth Bianchi has all that, and she said, you can email him through the phone app. So it actually works like it's not like an email. An email is a bit, oh, you have to open your Yahoo or your Gmail. But with this little app, it's almost like a text. And if you write a long email, then it goes through their mailroom and they read it, they go over it, and so it's delayed. But if you write about 4 or 5 lines, it gets straight to him. So you can literally, which I find like amazing, um, I can literally be watching TV. I was watching American Horror Story. Text him, oh, have you seen this? And he just texts back straight away in minutes. Oh, I like the hotel version of that. I think that's quite strange, really. I do. It's so maybe I'm getting old, but he's a world famous serial killer. The Hillside Strangler, as known, Kenneth Bianchi, and it's kind of strange, isn't it? I mean, if I were I am sensitive, I am psychic, a medium, channeler, etc. It's, so I'm aware of the spiritual nature of this, kind of thing. And as people know that when after I published my book, I started to receive like a really intense psychic attacks that were beyond psychic attacks that I've ever had before. Psychic attacks, including the ones of Colonel Michael Aquino, come at when you come out your body, when your body's or loose, or even just putting your head down on the pillow. Aquino used to be able to just wish me out of my body from the bottoms of my feet. So well, he's a black magician basically in the head of Temple of Set, dead now, so everyone believes. I don't know whether he is, well, he's in the astral, so he's not actually dead anyway. But so this is but the attack that I got from Bianchi, and I know it's from Bianchi because I felt him along with it, was worse, far worse. It was actually when I was, walking around. I'd be having coffee with a friend, and I would look up and see them beheaded, basically, and then, look at the face of another friend and find him like stretched out on the cross. It was like really bad. I recognized it as a psychic attack. I thought at first it was a demonic attack. Prayed a bit, lightweight praying. And then it got worse. And I could feel him along with it, and I could feel his amusement along with it. So I knew it was coming from him. So at that point, I went to a priest. I told him what had gone on. He gave me excerpts of the Bible to read. I read them. It still didn't abate. Now, it wasn't constantly. It was intermittent, and it couldn't hold. It was just literally seconds or just literally half a minute, but it was disturbing. It's obviously, wasn't fun. And the last straw was when I was sitting watching telly and I felt him try to remote view me. Again, it was just a flash of a second, but it was very strong. In the truth community, there's a lot of people that can do that kind of thing, and you can feel them. You can feel them coming, to see you, or trying to access you, trying to spy on you when you're in your dream sleep. I don't like it, but it's easily gotten rid of. You just draw down a screen or whatever. But with this, it was beyond intrusive. It was just, it really scared me badly. And that was back in 2012. And I have to say that I got very into magic, very into studying the occult, very into, that kind of thing through it, very into the jinn when a friend of mine said that it was, possibly Middle Eastern because one of the hallucinations was men buried in sand up to their necks and just being, their faces being sunburnt and them crying out and their eyes burning out and just no water. And I mean, that was one of the hallucinations, visions, whatever. And I know I don't have that kind of thing. And I just felt his energy along with it. It was 100% from him. And so I realized that the only way out was to pray. And I started to really pray and really mean it. And then it was a point where I really meant it and prayed to Jesus, please help me. I really am scared. And then it went. Then it went. And it's strange. When Aquino pulled me out of his body, it was only that again stopped that. So if you're experiencing that kind of thing, praying to Jesus is the only thing that will kill it. And it killed it. It killed this stone dead. So I didn't think anything of that until this young girl, it was years later, she came to me. She was a girlfriend of his, came to me, said, oh, he's not eating, or something like that. He's sick. It's your fault. You write that book. I offended him. And I said, well, really, I don't want to write to him. I don't want to get involved there. Obviously, because of what happened, I thought I'm not going to go near, But I'd studied a lot of the occult since then and gotten pretty efficient, pretty up there. I'm good when it comes to astral journeying, about knowing when I'm being attacked, about protection, a lot more than I was back then. So I thought, well, I could. So I said, maybe I will write a letter. And I thought, but in my head was like, can I be bothered? Because to write a letter to America, it's not a point of going in a supermarket and writing, say, sticking a stamp. You have to go to the post office, which is a complete, I don't like doing it. I have to go somewhere, pay, walk a long way. And it's just like a 2-hour jobby to go to the post office. So I thought, in my head, I was saying, I'm not good. I can't be bothered. And especially write to someone who's come at me like that. Anyway, then she persisted. And then she said, oh, Gina, you don't have to write to him. Oh, you can just text him. You get a little app for your phone. I thought, you kidding me? I couldn't quite believe it. And it's called JPay. Check it out. It's on there. You just have to put the prisoner's number and then, well, hey, you're off and running. So she told me how to do it, got set up, and, I texted him, didn't get anything back. And actually, I think I did get something back, didn't see it, let 6 months go past, then saw it, replied, and then got an angry rejoinder. And then I left it. And then I think I did it for some reason. Did it again and then got back, oh, hi, Chris, is this you? If it is you, how are you doing? So then there was a back and fro, back and fro. Anyway, I didn't feel I was really getting on with him that well. He said that he had FaceTime once a week. He was allowed to FaceTime once a week. So I thought, do I want to FaceTime? Because of the psychic attack, I thought, right, because I know about that kind of thing. If which put me off interviewing Michael Aquino on the radio show, used to have, because his voice going right into me, he would have looked probably, just, I mean, energy connecting, then bang, they've got you. And I thought, well, why does he want a video? Why does he literally want a video time me? And so I said, oh, I'm not sure about that. My camera's not really good, whatever. He said, oh, I have this once a week. Oh, I'm just supposed to do it today, whatever. And the JPay app has got a video thing to it. It's got one. I didn't want to, because I knew eye to eye contact with voice to voice. He would just have me. He would have me, and he might take me down, and I would never get up again, because that scared me back then. And so I said no, and I don't, and I fudged around it, got around the issue, and he didn't mention it again. Then one time I wasn't getting on with him very well, not at all, and he wasn't listening to things I was saying, and I kind of felt a little bit talked down to. I kind of felt like he does stick little bitchy, like the kind of man that sort of, and he was sticking little bitchy bits in, and I thought, oh, my God, it was just like, oh. And suddenly he said to me, oh, what's your phone number? I'm allowed to phone people, again, the once a week, and, he could pay for it. It's amazing. Prisoners out there just get treated like gold dust. Our prisoners aren't allowed to do that. Anyway, so I said, oh, I haven't got a phone, like a landline. I do, but I didn't want to give it out. And so he said, it's okay, you're mobile. And I thought, hang on. There's no way that American prisons would let inmates ring an English mobile. So I said, well, here it is. And here's like what you have to ring, dial 00 and 44, whatever, and drop the naught. And anyway, the phone rang, and it said, this is Washington State Penitentiary. Press 5 if you want to accept the call. Anyway, I did. And it was literally about 5 minutes. It went really, really fast, because he thought he had 20 minutes. And so, and I was ready for something to happen after. I was ready, and got cut off. It was just for 5 minutes, and I felt it, and I felt it was almost like, and it was the experience I had when sitting with him. But again, it was quick. It was like cold water going through me, and then a feeling of just like being paralyzed, and then so I'm just tying that together with something in my head, because something I just read online about being paralyzed. Anyway, hold that thought. And then it was like almost like my body was being chopped up. A weird feeling, because it was like in my mind's eye it was happening, and I just like looked down. It was almost like it was happening. I remember looking down and like, whoa. And then it felt like there was rats crawling all over me, literally. And then it felt like I was in a coffin, and then in a coffin with rats crawling over me. It was not a feeling of it. It literally, I could see it in my mind's eye. That's how it was getting in. Do you see? Psychic attacks, that's how they happen. And immediately, obviously, I knew it was psychic attack. Thank God I was experienced, all that. Thank God I was experienced. I knew what was going on, and luckily Brian Barrett had given me the Shemyaza thing, because I had, obviously through Sheikh Ben Halimar, he introduced me to the Kaf and the portal to the jinn. I had got to know my jinn, and so I used my jinn. I said, jinn, protect me, and I almost felt like a splattering sort of thing, and and I sort of knew that my jinn hadn't got anywhere, and the attack continued. And so then I used a sigil, I grabbed for it, and then I called on Shemyaza, which Brian Barrett had taught me to do, and immediately, so good, Shemyaza is. I mean, and the sigil that was drawn by J.S. Garrett, I mean, that's powerful. As soon as I did it, it stopped, just stopped, cut dead. And I found myself on a lake face to face with this creature. Now, I assumed back then that, oh, it's a jinn, blah, 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 that, whatever. Sheikh Ben Halimar said he has jinn in him, and we tried to, he did a praying thing, I had told Bianchi about it, that Sheikh had worked on his photograph. I'd felt a feeling of his victims like almost being freed up after Sheikh Halima had prayed. And then it's almost like I kind of sensed that it hadn't gone out of Bianchi. I could kind of sense that. Anyway, I said something to him. He has this journalist around him, this so-called Pulitzer Prize winning journalist, who's telling him he's innocent. He has done for the last 5 years. It's a pretty bad show, pretty bad show, especially as Bianchi is confessed. And this guy might perhaps say, oh, well, the police made him. Well, he said things like, oh, the blonde was good, but the brunette F's really badly. Well, the cops don't put that in. And when he's confessing, there's so much colour there that the cops aren't Stephen King. The cops can't give him all that he, and then apparently, oh, there's just an aberration. He says some really nasty things, okay? Some really nasty things about gassing, about, something I'm going to talk about, electric. I don't know if I'm allowed to say this on YouTube actually, but electric um, causing pain by that was mentioned. And horrific stuff that the police didn't know about. So how was he saying it? I mean, how can this piece of shit, that's a UK individual, lap round Kenneth Bianchi for 5 years telling me he's innocent? It's nothing short of demonic, actually. It's demonic. I don't like it. Seriously, don't like it. And no, this man really does believe he's not just playing someone to play someone that sinful as well. Both ways you look at it, this individual is crass, really bad, a really bad individual. And I urge him, if he's listening to this, I do suspect, because Bianchi said, oh, you said this, you said that, you have to take that down, you have to, so I suspect they spy on me and listen to my stuff. And if you're listening now, I urge you to stop what you're doing, because, go and talk to a priest about it. What you're doing isn't good, and you will get, when you finally pull out, you're going to get attacked by him, and all the stuff that you said won't make a difference. And I pity you, because it's not fun. So what happened? It was odd. Last night I wasn't going to investigate Bianchi anymore. I finished with that, but seemed to he seemed to appear. When he appeared, I bound him, and I was trying to get him to tell me why he did it. I believe, you see, that these serial killers, so-called serial killers, they have inside them what it is that's currently running this place. And all that, oh, they feed on the low frequency, the pain, that it is out there and it's feeding on. That's why I have an issue with Chris Berry. I do have an issue now. He and I had a back and forth in an email last night. He was saying to me, oh, there's loads of people visit Kenneth Bianchi. You didn't even document your visit when you went to see him. And your emails are full of spelling mistakes. And I thought, hang on, mate. Firstly, I was paid by the Guardian to go out and see him. I did document it, but it didn't get in there. Moropi Mills screwed me about, put it in Reader's Experience, and sold the shit out of me. I looked like Little Red Riding Hood in there. I went for a reason, not to give him some current buns. So it is documented. And thirdly, I don't give a damn if my emails have got a few spelling mistakes. Who cares? I'm sitting watching Netflix, texting. I don't give my full attention when I'm talking to this one and that one. Why should I? So he was having a pop at me about that. Oh, you'll never make a true crime writer. I don't want to be a true crime writer. I couldn't think of anything worse. And what they do, these true crime writers, they put the onus on these individuals, whether it's that Chris North, is it North, Chris North? Gosh, how could I forget the name of the guy? I have forgotten. The guy who killed his two children and his beautiful girlfriend. The children were stunning. The girlfriend was stunning, and he murdered them. It's like bizarre. Entity involvement is always there. I think the entity came in through that mistress for sure. She was channeling something, and then that's what happens. You see, in sex, it jumps over. But in these people, and in Ian Brady, who I have met, and yes, I know lots of people have met Ian Brady. Lots of people have met Kenneth Bianchi. I am not trying to get some claim for fame. Like, oh, I've met lots of people have met. Who cares? It's not about them, okay? Not about them, Erica. Not about them, Chris Berry D. These people are too focused on them as if they're famous, they're big, and oh, are you boasting that you've met them? I don't give a damn. They are. I know them. The only reason I say that I've met them and I know them so I can impart the knowledge to other people that they are average, they are bland, they are like a greengrocer. There's nothing to see there. Do you understand? That's why I'm saying it. That's the only reason I bring that up to say I've met them, because my testament can stand to be true. They are boring. And I don't mean boring in, they're fake. They're boring. Brady used to make out he was A. Hannibal Lecter, B. Sean Connery, so talking like that thing else, Christine. I mean, he wasn't real. He was fake. Because when you get to the real, it's just very, very, very bland. Okay, and they are very, very bland. They are boring. There is nothing to see there. The movie Hannibal Lecter is a complete fantasy. It's made up, and it serves a purpose to the evil that's on our planet right now, the evil that's trying to take over, the evil that's squashing us all, and we can't see it, and we can't see it because of people like these true crime writers who get these whatever it is, it's coming to these serial killers, and we can examine it. But you get these true crime writers, and they're like, oh, no, he's really interesting. When I looked at him, I felt so sexy, and all this shit really makes my blood boil. And then you get the Pulitzer Prize winning ninny who goes around and says, oh, he's innocent with someone else there. Oh, shut your damn mouth, you absolute idiot. What should happen to someone like Bianchi? Because he's rare, because mostly American murders their serial killers, Richard Ramirez, Ted Bundy, etc. I believe they should be put in a room faced with their victims, a big picture or a big screen of their victims, tortured. I don't mean full on torture, just slight torture, and get them to confess every little detail. No, they've already confessed, but I mean really boil it down. Really, really boil it down, because what needs to be unearthed is what is the entity. Now, all of them owned up to having entities. Danny Rowlands was really, really good with it. There was some brilliant letters somebody got out of him, and he said that he was split into altars, and he said that, when this dark altar came, he felt like murdering girls. He said, but it wasn't that altar. He said, I used to go and watch them and look into their rooms and think, I might go in there and murder and attack them. He said, but it was when Gemini came. When Gemini, the dark wind blew, then I knew I would move forward. That's possession. Now, these entities, they're out there. And I believe it's these entities running this show, okay? I don't believe that, they're little and they're over there. I believe that actually they've got the dome in their hands. And what they use these young men for, these what we call serial killers, and we've made a whole big thing about it, that's bullshit, okay? Wow, serial killers! And all this true crime shit is very, very evil. Anyone taking part of it, in this true crime bullshit, in this crime court, okay, they're going to get bad karma for it, okay? Because it's covering something up, understand? It's covering up what really went on. Do you understand? And these young men, I'm not saying that the likes of Brady and Bianchi are innocent. Of course they're not, okay? It is something that comes in there, but they have to have something in them that encourages it. Like Danny Rowlands was so open and honest about why he was, he had the death penalty. What a shame. I mean, it's just stupid, really. So he said that was when Gemini came in. Now, what is Gemini? Can we not go right into his head and get him to write down, try and see Gemini in your mind's eye. Try and write exactly when he first came. Did he feel exhausted, tired? After all that should be done. It's not done. No one gives a damn about it. And these true crime individuals that that go and see them and write to them. Yes, I did, but again, I was interested in the deeper spiritual. They just go to so they can regurgitate in a book and say, I was really scared and oh, I was so sexed up. Yeah, I got hard. You know, it's just sick. It really makes my blood boil. And then everyone out there, they buy these books. Why are you buying them? They're just rubbish. They're full of lies. Why are you buying them? If you want to find out about these individuals, Google them. If you want to know them, write to them yourself. Don't buy these books. Don't help these people by perpetrating this crap. Don't watch it on YouTube. Why are you watching it? Go out, do something happy. You know, do something happy. Focus on something good. If you're focusing on the dark, focus about how to cure the dark. And don't focus on what they do over and over again. You're sucking in that energy. You're creating something in your own mind to give a portal in your own mind for these entities that nobody thinks exist to come through by watching it again and again and again. You're partaking in a kind of dance. You're partaking in a kind of festival. Going to things like the Crime Con, that's definitely partaking in it. You know, that, I mean, that really is. You're going to go along there, you're going to come back with a parasite all over you. I've gone to some of these UFO, and you come back with dirty attachments. You do. I mean, these places, they know people that go there are slightly open. They're not, you know, and they feed off them. They feed off them. They know they've got holes inside them. They know they're open. They feed off them. And you can't just come home and come away from it. You bring that with you. Okay, so this is what happened last night. Okay, I began to feel very painful electric shocks in my hands, and I started to think it was some kind of eel or a snake. I couldn't see it very clearly in the astral. Then I realized I was holding wire that was coming out of a wall socket. Then I saw Kenneth Bianchi and I realized that he was electrocuting me. And he was electrocuting me by stabbing my hands. Now, the victims were found with electrocution marks on their hands. Okay? So I knew at that point I was witnessing a past life event. Okay? So I widened out the picture as I watched Kenneth Bianchi and Angelo Buono electrocute a naked girl. And they were making her in this seedy little place, Angelo's car place in the living room, crawl around on all fours around in a circle as they prodded her with this wire. Obviously, they'd made it in some way that it did give electric shock. Angelo knew how to do that. I'm sure Kenneth knew how to do it. They worked on cars. They were prodding her so like it was a cattle prod. She was crawling around on floors naked, very, very afraid. Bianchi was really angry and venting his anger. And now his anger, he had an anger there anyway, and he had a really bad rage. This was in the astral viewing of the past life event, and also I've read it in books that he says, I had in his like high-pitched, innocent Ken voice, I had a really bad temper. It was like a cut-off kind of thing, a really bad temper, and so everyone thinks, oh, it's just like, you know, when they go, fuck, damn it. You know, no, this temper is like a real dark, nasty, belligerent street person's like that. It's and he was carrying that around, that belligerent. He was running hookers, he was threatening people, he was a thug, okay? He was a thug, a working class thug. Deep down, a dark thug as well, nasty, willing to really, really hurt people. This is his mindset. And Kelly Boyd, his girlfriend at the time, I mean, she, not being funny, when you're with a thug, you know it. I've been with thugs. You know it, you can smell them. You don't really go for their side like that. Okay, he might have been giving her his, oh, I'm just like that. But there was a incident where he punched her when she was pregnant. So I'm struggling to see how she went for this. I'm so sweet. I mean, if someone punched me, I would have them down as Satan. I would report them to police straight away. I would want them to go to prison. She did none of that. And then she also, you know, one of the murders happened in the flats, and she knew she'd given him VD, that he was angry. I mean, you could tell if someone's angry. Okay, give her the benefit of the doubt. She was completely shut down. And there were murders happening around, and she said she told the police, I said it just as a joke that he might be the Hillside Strangler. I mean, come on. And then she went up to Bellingham. He followed her. Then he committed the murders in Bellingham. Um, According to his mother, he was triggered by Kelly. Whenever she told him to bugger off or give him VD, he would go out on the kill. Probably true. But then she went on TV after he was arrested for all these murders and still went on. The Ken I know, he couldn't have killed anyone. He punched you when you were pregnant. Well, what the fuck? And so he had this, he'd admitted had this rage, but it was said, or, you could say things, they're in a different way. Like John Boyle been mentioning in Nick Davies' book, he's mentioned, but he was the one who brought in phone hacking. He's mentioned like he's a bin man, you see. Bianchi mentioned his anger, just like, yeah, I had a really cut off rage, yeah, said in his little fake voice. But his rage was like a thug, it was like a thug. And we all know, I've certainly encountered men like that, being working class myself and moving in rough circles when I was younger, for sure. I encountered guys like that. Some of them were terrifying, and their anger was literally they could stab you. I had a guy smash a glass, and I was in the bath. He came over to me and he put it by my face because I'm gonna cut your neck open if you don't give me that steak you've got in the fridge, you bitch. So I've known men like that really, really well. I've been drawn to men like that because I could handle them. But it's like, that's trauma. That's trauma, dealing with the trauma. My brother was like that. My brother used to come in my room if I was playing quiet little music, but he didn't want to hear the quiet little music. He would rip out the plug and rip the plug off the end and stab the plug into my leg. So it's that kind of man we're looking at here. So going back to the astral event I was witnessing in the astral, but obviously it had taken place for real. And I saw that in the anger, he was desperately trying to get off sexually. But I never believed that because obviously I was remote viewing him to feel that. I didn't believe that. I know it's written, oh, psychos, they have to inflict pain to get off. I thought that was bullshit because I thought, well, how can it, like, to someone, oh, it's so sexy. I didn't really understand that. But being in his body, remote viewing him, I could feel it. Like he was desperately sort of getting this thing on her to try and get off sexually as he did it, and there was a sense of urgency as he was impotent. Okay, and with normal women, including Kelly, he couldn't get off. So he was like, and trying to like rouse himself because he obviously, I suppose men have to have that, and he wasn't having that. So it was like, and feeling like the anger, and he was getting angry and angry, and he was taking it out on the girl. And as he was trying to like, like enjoy it. It was sort of like, and a real kind of like, so dirty, despicable. Anyway, he got angry and angry, and he was venting on her, almost like she had done something to him. This poor innocent girl he picked up from somewhere. And I suppose Bianchi might say she was a whore. Really? Well, your own girlfriend had gone and slept around, so what was she? A girl is a girl is a girl. So this poor girl suffered this, and he was acting as if it was her. Now, I would surmise that his anger was towards Kelly Boyd for giving him VD, which is dirty. He would have felt not very nice and venting on the girl because he didn't want to lose Kelly Boyd. And I've known men like that before who vent on the side, because they want to keep, and they grovel around the girl they're with. But it backfires because, at the end of the day, then they are at risk of exploding on the girl they're with. So the one they're with is always in danger of being murdered as well. So he was venting on this girl. His rage was very deep. It was black. It was like endless. And in the anger, he was desperately trying to get off sexually as he did it. He was urgent as he was usually highly impotent. in usual ways with females, he couldn't get aroused. Again, his girlfriend should have said that when he got arrested. Actually, he's pretty impotent. I can guess 100% someone like that, a man who was a bona fide massive rapist, that when he was at home with the little girl and doing the little, I'm Ken, there wasn't sex going down, there wouldn't be. But again, she wasn't honest to say, actually, it's all a bit flat, or he's a bit flat. So anyway, Bianchi got angry and angry, and he took it out on the girl. He was delighting in hurting her as if she was somehow the one who had ruined him. It might have been about his mother, presumably. Ken pushed her into a seat, which was like an armchair. He was highly inflamed at this point, highly enraged, practically on fire, and he shouted at her to show up her hands. He then put the wires on each hand and he said, I'm going to kill you, you're going to die tonight. And this was done. He only said this to try to allow him to become sexually aroused by saying those words. In looking at her fear, you're going to die, I'm going to kill you, I'm not just mucking around here doing the torture thing. You're going to die, you're going to die of this, you're going to die tonight, I am going to kill you. And she was feeling terror, just pure terror. And also, I flashed into the victim's mind, and she was seeing snakes in her mind, which was kind of weird. But as he did the psychic attack on me, I know that he can put visions into your heads. He was putting snakes into her mind. So she was feeling that. She was feeling that she was with someone that was going to kill her. It doesn't bear thinking about what that girl went through. It doesn't bear thinking about. Just going to pause for a minute to think about her and just to give her some respect for 1 minute. And all his victims that suffered. The ones back when he was younger at Rochester, the ones in Bellingham, the girls in Bellingham, the girls in Los Angeles, who would have suffered the most. What they went through, torture. And they talk about, concentration camps. These girls would have gone through exactly what they went through in concentration camps, electrocuted, injected gas. How long did it go on for? We don't know. Days? Weeks? We don't know. They're not obviously telling. Okay, so he was going back to the point where he was saying, I'm going to kill you, going to die tonight. I then froze the scene. I know I could psychically fully examine what was going on inside Bianchi at that particular pinpoint in time and find out the truth of him, which I am interested in doing. Not because of him, understand me, not because of him. He doesn't mean shit. He's something that was used by something, I tell that. I'm not that stupid. So I'm interested in finding out what that is, yeah? And he's irrelevant. Absolutely irrelevant. I will never write a true crime book, ever. So, okay, at that particular point, wanted to find out the truth, okay? It was a point of he was in his serial killer glory, I suppose you could call it, a flame. And that's why people say, when you see a serial killer, when you meet a serial killer, you're not meeting a serial killer, you're just meeting the front personality, the front altar, the host. You're not actually. I mean, I felt it for a fraction of a second. Again, it felt like that cold water going through, that being paralyzed. I'll explain why that happened a bit later. So he was firing. He was on fire. He was like in the position that Danny Rowland said Gemini came. It was like catching him at that point, in full flight. So he was in full flight. So right then, I froze the scene. I channeled energy into the scene right in the top of his head. I laid my hand on the top of his head and I called out for help. And what first came into my head was Jesus. Just because of the horror, the fear of the victim, the utter horror. So I called out, may the Lord Jesus Christ come down and order it to leave. And I didn't even know whether there was anything in there at that point because it seemed like it was all him and boiling down to impotency and anger over that impotency. So I didn't really think there was anything in there. I instinctively did that. It was just instinctual. I did this. I had no idea what would happen. Suddenly, something shot out of his body onto the floor. It looked like a moth, a really old moth, a huge, a massive moth, thousands and thousands of years old. Reminds me of a book I read in my childhood, actually, which I shouldn't have been allowed anywhere near me and give me nightmares. In the end, my mother had to take it off me. I had a picture of a moth and a boy, and the moth was attacking him. But it was like this. It was like this dirtiest moth, the dirtiest, brownest with that shiny skin they got. You know, the little ones and they're dirty, but it was giant. And it wasn't just any old moth, it was a really old one, like from thousands of years old. And it just lay there on the carpet, just twitching. Oh, it just makes me feel sick to think about. And it was really dirty, like beyond dirty, just beyond dirty. I can't even describe. It was like out of dirt, out of a toenail or something that hasn't washed for 1,000 years, just like dirt, like in the Hoover, right at the bottom, like dirt, like beyond dirt. Oh, and it was really vile. And I am a massively curious individual, especially about things like that. But I didn't want to examine that. I didn't want to examine that. I was just terrified about how dirty it was. And I called on Shemyaza straight away because I thought that needs something big. Um, Shemyaza immediately appeared and I asked him to please get rid of it and to hoover the rest of the sick out of Bianchi. Um, and I found myself astrally in Bianchi's prison cell and he was sleeping. He half woke up and saw me and then I tapped into his mind. I made the mental note that he was still psychic. So I'd done that to him, but he was still psychic. So it's strange. It seems like that was an entity, but still he was aware, which kind of adds up with these young men. I believe that Brady for sure was psychic, mediumistic, and I think Bianchi must have the same shit going on. So I made the mental note. He's still psychic because he could still see me. He could still see me astrally. And then I read him. I read his mind, and he was recalling dumping a body. Um, and I said to somebody, I don't know who I was talking to, I must have felt this, there was somebody there. He's gone straight into recall. I remote viewed his pleasure in disposing of a body. He was dumping it, just flinging it down naked on what looked like in the middle of trees. Now, I think only the murders in Rochester were, the bodies were found in trees. Anyway, he was walking away, and I was at that point remote viewing him. The scrunch of leaves were underfoot, and he was enjoying it. It must have been autumn. I'm wondering what girls were killed in autumn time. I suspect it might have been the earlier of his murders back in Rochester. He was feeling an extreme feeling of pleasure and an extreme feeling of power from this recall. And he's still there. It is a habit for him to recall regularly, for him to draw on that feeling of power over life and death, and to cope with life inside of a cell by having that recall, which matches with when I met him. Honestly, he strolled out. I was like, he was very happy, very relaxed, very confident. I mean, and if you think about it, even if you stay in for a while and you go out and you meet people, you're a bit nervous when I mean, he hadn't had any substances or anything. They don't give them tablets. And so he was like, didn't have a drink before he came out. And he was, um, match that with Brady, who is very nervous, really nervous. He talks very whispery. He looks at the floor. He doesn't really make eye contact. That now and again you get a blast of it. Most of the time he has his dark glasses on. He's nervous as hell. And there was long pauses where I didn't have anything to say to him. He didn't have anything to say to me. But with Bianchi, it was like meeting a movie star. He radiated movie star. He was so chilled out, so confident, with the I am famous vibe. It was a little bit sickening, I have to say. And this is how he's got that. He lives off recall. Okay, he lives off it. He really enjoyed killing. He really Now, I didn't know this until last night, and I had this download. I had no idea. If somebody had said that to me, I'd say, no, 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 he was just hosting. He was just hosting. Obviously, he didn't enjoy it, but he enjoyed it. He enjoyed it. He really enjoyed it. He enjoyed the feeling of power. It's him personally. Now, he did have that in him that, don't want to talk about it right now, that moth creature. But, and I'm sorry for people that have watched this trying to hear what I'm going to say about ET, but it's coming. But I had to, I'm sorry. I guess I could call this Kenneth Bianchi, but then I'll get all this true crime people reading it. Go, oh, you're not saying he's all sexy and exciting. Oh, you're lying. Or that prat that Ian Brady's pen pal, Alan, whatever his name is, that absolute scumbag. Saying, oh, you were just with Brady for 10 minutes. Sadly and unfortunately, I had 3 visits with him. One, I got there late, so it was 10 minutes. The other 2 were an hour, over an hour. The last one was over an hour. And is that something I should be pleased about or excited about? It made me sick. It's made me dirty. Could I ever get clean again, even if I have a million baths? Anyway, this is all these people, they bullshit. So I probably won't call it him, but I know I'm talking about him, but I'm getting to my point shortly. Okay, so I assumed to give people the benefit of the doubt, I suppose, that he didn't recall. He doesn't sit there in his cell, lie there in his cell, recalling. It's wrong, isn't it? He is, and he's enjoying it. Now that's when you say someone like that needs counselling. I mean, come on, Americans. I don't know, kill him then. It's wrong just to put someone in a concrete prison and just let them recall that. Okay, so here's what's happening then. Anyone that comes in his circle, and now they've given him an electronic tablet. So it was okay before, maybe, when it was just letters. Even then, so the first time I wrote Bianchi a letter, I felt him astrally around me. I posted it was a week, and then it was bang. I felt him. And I was like, how did you find me so quickly? And he said, I followed the stink of whore. Well, that's Bianchi. That's how he thinks. That's how he speaks. And he got my energy. Okay, so their psychic powers, because they're in the concrete thing, it grows. It's like hot housing something. He's got nothing else. So, okay, when he had the letters, he could still access people. Obviously, he accessed me before with the letter, but I'd gone to see him, so that's even more accessing. He touched me. But there's something about electronics, there's something about coming through it that you can really connect up with someone. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the AI. I don't know what it is, but it is. And they've given him an electronic tablet, and now he can talk to people and do video calls. It's sinful, isn't it? Really, it's sinful of the authorities to allow that to happen. So he is allowed to text, to video call, to get close to whoever he wants to, and they will reverberate it. And as I had J.S. Garrett on the show last week, and he was saying that through electronics is a way of accessing, a way of getting inside energy. And, what are they doing? What are they doing? It's because they don't, like the true crime writers, they leave out the whole aspect of spirituality, the whole thing. And in the argument with Chris Berry D, he said, they're men, yeah, they're really evil men. Why are you trying to make out something mystical involved? It's typical, really, isn't it? I can't believe he's selling merch on his YouTube. Anyway, let's not go there. Let's not go there. I don't like the true crime thing. I don't like it. I don't like people that buy into it either. Just stop doing it. So anyway, the same with Brady, who was allowed, someone from Wormwood Scrubs, the governor, wrote to the governor of Felton Borstal and said, the Borstal boys are coming to Ian Brady's floor and they're having sex with him. And the governor of Federal Borsal went, well, so what? And the wiser governor of Wellmer Scrubs said, well, isn't he going to be like a bad influence? They're young. And the governor, the retarded governor of, and I mean spiritually, and I don't apologize for it. I know people don't like using that word because it's applied to children. It shouldn't be applied to children. Do you understand? It should be applied to adults. This guy who had no spirituality said, oh, then Ian Brady going to be a bad influence on them. Come on, not this old chestnut again. What a scumbag. So basically, these poor Borstal boys were getting all Brady's downloading, which I had happened to me. I didn't, obviously had sex to him, but he yeah, I'll call it an attack, just to piss off Alan when I was there. But I got that dark energy poured into me. But I think, you know, I assumed that it was the dark energy that took full control and that they didn't have any say in it. But sadly, I've just been enlightened that actually they're running along with it. Actually, they enjoy it. And I tell you what they enjoy. And it was in a book that's compulsorily given to 11-year-olds. It was given to my son. I found out about it and I took it off him. And homework he had, we had to write about it. I did that homework. I said, don't want you reading that, don't want you looking at it, don't want it in your head. It was written by a piece of shit called Darren Shand. It's not his real name. Yeah, he uses a pseudonym. And his kid is called something like Dante or something. This guy's, he's a black magician, obviously, but not honest about it. So that, you know, that's, you're talking about somebody nasty. So he has written a book called The Cirque du Freak, and it's compulsory reading for 11-year-olds in our schools. And it's about a demon, and the demon comes to the boy, and the boy witnesses before that, you know, someone having his hands cut off and the blood gushes over them all. So that's a ritual. And then you get and the kids had to focus on that ritual and write it up for homework. 11 years of age, they were asked to do that. And I went to their mistress and said, I don't like my son reading this. This is real occult stuff. Because it is. And she said, it's been compulsory for 11-year-olds for the last 3 years. And nobody's complained apart from you. Oh, I'm so fucking sorry. Anyway, so I've sworn now. I don't think you're allowed to do that on here. Anyway, so imagine that. Oh, that's... So apparently in these books the demon comes and it knocks, let me in, let me in, let me in. You've got to basically let it in. So you let it in if you want power. And basically this demon gives this boy, who's the same age as the boys who are reading it, power. Like, yeah, you might feel like killing your parents, but I'll give you the power of telepathy. So in the end, the boy says, okay, you can come inside me. And then he rises up on the back of an older man. It's sick as hell. And then they attack a jogger. It's sick. It's real occult stuff. It's sick. And then there's a bit as well where a spider comes in the boy's mouth and it goes in and out, and then spurts its web. Ooh, we all know what that is. It's sick as hell. And I wrote to these stupid Schoolgate mothers and said, they're reading this, your children, it's disgusting. And they were like, no, you need to meet in the fast. So I guess most of them ignored me. You know, disgust. Oh, pause for a minute. Pause for a minute. How people that don't believe in this kind of thing and think they're superior and call it conspiracy theory and, you know, all the, oh, now I've alerted YouTube. Now I've really alerted YouTube. You know, and they, God, I hate them. I hate them so much. I hate them with a passion. And you can hear it in their voice. They think they're real. Oh, woo woo. Oh, you're talking about woo woo. Take another tablet. And you just think, hang on, do you think you're here permanently? You know, come to a certain time, you're going to tip off the edge. Where do you think you're going to go? And I always ask them that. And they said, oblivion, obviously. And you just think, God, how disgusting you are. Just how shallow and base, just like an insect, really. Totally. Back to this. So anyway, I was shocked too. What they do is they go along with it, and Brady admits that he spoke to a face of death, and he boasted to me in letters, saying, I'm in credit now, in the hereafter, basically, I can't remember the exact words, it was all very cheesy. He will rise up. It's just no, you won't. But this is what they think. But with Bianchi, I think it was just like the sheer pleasure of feeling godlike. And this is what this attachment does. It does give you that feeling. If you're feeding it, it will then give you a sort of a blast back. And, you're going to feel that sort of, petty little high. And obviously, he has, I don't know, just deep down, does he have some kind of spiritual thing going on deep down where he thinks that he's going to get somewhere? He talked to me about God and the Bible, and he's a Christian. And I picked a good bit out of the Bible, and it was about Yahweh being a dragon. Now, anybody who's really interested in it would get quite inflamed about that, either one way or another. Either they'd say, oh, that's, metaphorical, or they'd say, he basically kind of ignored it and said, oh, this is my favorite. Meaning he's just unreal when it comes to the Bible. He hasn't read it, he doesn't like it, he doesn't want to read it. He sent me back some clip it from Corinthians. It didn't mean anything. I asked so many people, does this mean something? Is this relevant in some kind of way? And they were like, no, it doesn't mean anything. This is my favourite part about the Bible. It's just shit. It's just lies. And oh God. Just going to take a few minutes. And really, that man should be helped. Really, he should be helped. He shouldn't have these journalists surrounding him telling him he's innocent. That's very, very bad. He should be taken somewhere, taken away from the electronics. That's bad. He can attack. He attacked me. I got over it. If he attacks me again, I have a photograph he sent me, so it's sent straight from him. He's written on the back, very personal. I will wrap that with some chicken feet, and I will go and bury it in a grave. I will not muck around. He comes at me again, I'm going to give him full whack of the darkest magic I know. So that's what happened to Mr. Bianchi. So anybody listening on his behalf, do pass that back. I'm not going to muck around with him. But what should happen to him? He should have the electronics taken away. He should be put in a separate cell, and he should have somebody go in there every day and torture him. But, I'm not saying that in a nasty way. Torture him for his own good, and bring photographs of the victim. Say, that's what you did to them. That's what you did. That's a girl. That's not, oh, it's, oh, well, no, it's a girl. And he said that as well. And there was, once about one of his victims, oh, she knew what she was doing. He tries to degrade them so it doesn't matter that they died. And then Angela as well was heard to say in his cell, they were no good, those girls. They were young girls. They were young girls that nobody gave a shit about mostly. Some obviously did, but a lot of them, nobody was loving them, and they didn't have any money or any way of surviving, so they had to go and do what they did. Do these assholes actually think that they enjoyed going to different stinky man after stinky man after stinky man? No, they didn't. Why? Of course they didn't. It wasn't Brad Pitt they were out there with. It was stinko after stinko after stinko. And how dare anybody judge them? How dare they? So this is what these people. So he should be put in a cell, tortured. I could do it. I would put my hand up to do that. I could do that and not feel squeamish about it. Just torturing, maybe with what he used, the same thing. So he would know and say, look, she felt that pain there. That was the pain she felt. And look him in the eye and say that. And you'd have to tie him down, I suppose. And then do it again. Say, that was what she felt. Now look at her. Now that was what she felt. And now since you're older now, she is young. She had a whole life in front of her. She maybe had a child. She could have done something. And there, that's what you did. And then go and do the same things to him as he did, and make him feel it and say, really feel that now before God. Read him some Bible verses. He doesn't like hearing Bible verses. Read them. Talk about Jesus and really make him feel it. Don't let him sleep, and carry that on for week after week, month after month, year after year. So instead of an electronic tablet, in his cell, and some piece of shit from UK lapping round him, telling him he's the sweetest man that ever lived. Yeah, I can tell there's a bit of that involved with this guy. The sweetheart. Ken, you're sexy. You're so good looking. Someone as good looking as you. And you know what? It doesn't really matter. You killed those girls. They were bitches. I think there's a bit of that going on with this Pulitzer Prize winner. Maybe he doesn't realise. I realise. I see. And one day, if he's going to do a documentary and a book, he's going to have to come out of his hole. And I'm going to see him. I'm going to be all over him. So this is what has gone on with him. And I think after years and months, obviously he would break. Obviously he would break. You know, he would break. Brady would break. Brady would break in minutes. But the thing is, Brady, it had gone. It had left him. There was just the bones and the stink left over from his feeding frenzy. And I felt that darkness was nasty, but it was left. Brady, I don't think, sat in his cell gloating. I don't think so. I think that he knew it was wrong. He knew he'd done wrong. But he still hung on to, oh, maybe it'll be okay after I die. Maybe, you know, someone will go, oh, you're a hero. Killing those kids. Yeah, welcome. No, it's not going to happen, is it? And I think perhaps he cottoned onto that. Perhaps not. I mean, he wasn't a good person. I didn't want to talk to the press about what had gone on. I confided into Brendan Bourne. He's on my Facebook now. Anybody can ask him. I confided into him after I thought that they'd just done a story on me visiting him. And they put it in there that he attacked me. And according to this Alan guy, his pen pal, oh, you told the press because you wanted to be famous. What a turd. As if you can, oh, I'm Cameron Diaz now because I got attacked in a jail cell. It doesn't work, you prat. Anyway, it's gone. I certainly got close to Brady. It wasn't there anymore. But with Bianchi, it's there. That's right in there. And I have to say, you know, to give him an electronic tablet, to surrounding my people saying, oh, you're a sweetheart, you're a sweetheart, you're a sweetheart, you're a golden boy. It's not right. It's really bad. It's not right. And there's a video of him on YouTube, and he's talking to a bald-headed guy, and his eyes are like glistening, like there's some kind of sexual frisson between them. I don't know, watch it for yourself. I think there is. And this guy's asking him real light questions, and he's coming out with shit. And you can tell that, you just want to slap his face and just, you know, and that's what needs to happen to get, and I wanted to do it with Brady, to get him in a room and just, you know, break them down to the lowest level. And then when you break them down to that lowest level, make them sort of sick it up, you know, whatever it is in them. Anyway, I'm quite excited that last night I got to the core of it with Bianchi. And as I thought, it is connected up with what is going on right now with all of us. And I knew it. I have spent my entire life. And people might think, oh, you spent your time studying serial killers. No, I didn't. I was always looking for it through the psychic realm, examining my own self. They just happened to be along the way, and they're certainly not my story. They are little, you know, I'm not going to be real. I'm not going to hate on people. It's wrong to hate on people. Individuals, just like any other individual that I encounter. Greg Miskiw, you know, Rupert Murdoch, other people I've met, but Murdoch obviously more powerful than, you know, these individuals. So I'm excited that last night that I saw it. The Moth. I'll just go on here. I've written it down. Okay, I remote viewed his pleasure in disposing of the dead body, dumping it, walking away. The scrunch of leaves underfoot, it must have been autumn. I'm wondering what girls were killed in autumn time. I suspect it might have been the earlier of his murders back in Rochester, because they were found in woodland. He got pleasure and a feeling of power from this recall. It's a habit for him to recall, for him to draw on the feeling of power over life and death to cope with life inside of a concrete cell. I went back to the moth I'd removed. I dived into its consciousness. I came out opposite insectoids, a whole group of them. They felt very filthy. At first, I thought they were spiders, but the insectoids had weird cricket like antennae, and I suddenly realized that they were mantids. Mantids, the kind that Simon Parkes talks about. I don't know if I believe him, but I mean, he talks about them. He talks about being friendly to them. To my horror, when I googled it, Steve Noble, who I love, has got a meditation connecting with the mantis. Um, anyway, I was pretty horrified. These dirty, dirty beings. They're dirty. Why would you say one of them is your family, Simon Parkes? They're dirty. They're fucking filthy. Am I allowed to swear? No, I'm not. Oh man, they were dirty. I was pretty horrified. Then suddenly I found myself whisked away in front of a man. He questioned me why I was near the mantids and that he questioned anyone accessing. I said to him, well, I found myself there basically, and he replied to me, "Don't you even know what's going on your own planet?" So obviously, what's going on is COVID. So I said to him, "Do you know what COVID is? What's it all about?" And he said, "You're under attack. They're spraying the skies. The human body isn't geared to survive it. Uh, Only by vitamins being pumped into the body." He used the word chelate, CHELAT. Don't know what that means. Something, something. And then he said, "Clears the poisons." So apparently they are. They are. I didn't believe in that either. I can see them, but I thought, is it something, something? I thought surely not. Anyway, apparently they are, and but we can get it out of us by using vitamins, by really pumping them into us, like zinc, selenium. Really pumping them in, and that stuff that gets that. Chlorella and all that kind of thing, and I've heard this before by entities I've channeled, saying to do that. Um, he then went on and told me the mantids are reclaiming Earth as their own. He said I would experience them as dirty as they lived off a low frequency given out by us as food. Um, and then I was thinking about Bianchi, how he had that anger low frequency, and they sort of, they hooked. They literally were driving humans to make ourselves extinct so they could take over. Now, I actually recall that I had interviewed I don't know if she's an abductee or an experienced, Miles Johnson interviewed her, Lisa Williams, Faces One, and she had said, in a show that she later told me not to hang, was that the Greys are saying that they were taking over, and that this time the insects would take over. She knew that. This is years ago. So she knew the insects were taking over. The Greys have told her. I think the Greys are linked to them, if not them. And I don't know. I made my own notes that I don't know whether I got it from him or not. It was certainly in my head when I was writing this down. That the Anunnaki who made us, they weren't supposed to tinker with us, and they gave us this high frequency that attracted this intergalactic parasite. So basically, yeah, I've been wondering for a long time what's going on. Something's going on. Something's going on about what's going on, and obviously can't talk about it. And that in itself, oh God, um, oh God, it's just not good. It's just not good. It feels like an intervention by another species. If anybody watches Colony on Netflix, and again, Oblivion. It's on Netflix again. Good old Netflix. It isn't satanic or anything. They like to tell us what they're doing beforehand. They regard us as just animals. And it was interesting. I was reading about some people have done blogs about the mantids, and someone on Facebook, when I just posted about it, said some people believe that they're trying to take us over. And when the man disappeared that was speaking to me, I said to him before he left, "You're one of them, aren't you? You're not in this form." He said, "Yes." So they're shapeshifters as well. So they can basically make us think they're whatever the hell they want. They're more intelligent than us. So it's horrifying. It's a bit like a horror story, really. I feel weird that I know it and that literally know it on a level because I'm feeling it. I knew there's a connection between serial killers. The people that say, "Oh, you serial killers," as if I'm somehow about that. No, I've been wanting to find out what this is all my life because I was raped as a child, because I was handed by the Roman Catholic Church to paedophiles from my orphanage. I've known there was a darkness controlling the show. Um, Sadly, I couldn't be one of these people that are living in Disney World, but I wish I was. But I always wanted to feel it, and I think I always wanted to feel it because I was a so-called bastard, and my parents called me evil that I was born out of wedlock. And then I saw all these people like Brady, Jeremy Bamber, serial killers. They always go, "Oh, they're really evil," and I just thought, but that isn't it. That isn't it. I'd look at their pictures and think they were used by it. That's not it. So I spent my entire life looking for what it is, and I feel that last night I actually journeyed and found out what it is that it is. I mean, are they even mantids, for God's sake? That might be just how they're. Oh, I feel sick when I'm saying this, actually. It might be just how their lower cell. If you think about it, moths and insects, they're sort of maybe it's just the lower form of what it actually is, and maybe what it actually is much bigger. Oh God, how terrifying is that? How terrifying is that? But most people know that there's an ET takeover gone on. Things have changed, and just turn on YouTube and you see people fighting. They're fighting a war, aren't they? They're fighting. So we're fighting, and there's other people, sitting there in nice houses, and they're, just let everything pass. It will pass. It's not going to pass. This isn't going to pass. It's only going to increase. Things are going to get worse. Different things. There's probably going to be some kind of food shortage or something else going to go on, or some kind of other virus, a worse one. It's finished now. It's finished. And I did believe in biblical end times, but I always thought, and of course, for some people, it has come in fire and floods, but I always thought that it would end that way, something spectacular. Like one day we'd all be sitting there, eating our bloody salads, and suddenly we'd look up and it'd be like a fireball in the sky, and suddenly we're like whoosh, and we'd be like permanently in the astral. There is another life. We are going to go on to another life. This is just temporary. There's no need to really get upset about it. But I didn't think it would end slowly with a lot of pain. But because these creatures feed off our pain, they're going to end it slowly and with pain. They're going to have a feeding frenzy. They're going to have a feast. And then all that's going to be left of us is the bones. So we are going to basically experience what Bianchi's victims experienced in different ways. Sorry to bring that to the table. I don't like being someone bringing that to the table, but I know I've got something to bring to the table, and that is it. I think there might be other things I could do to help. I can channel. I've been contacting different beings. I contacted Uriel. He came through, but for somebody else. I channeled, but a friend of mine I've known for many years, asked me to contact her spirit guides. And I said, I'm psychic, but I don't think I can. And we met recently, and I held hands with her and we connected up. had incense burning, the Shemyaza sigil had a ritual. I spilled some of my blood on the sigil, drank the wine on top, and bang, I was in there. And with it being told me it was an outpouring of Uriel, maybe it wasn't, who knows? I don't know who Shemyaza is really. I know he steps in for me. We don't know who these entities are, but I think actually they might be our only hope. I don't know, maybe they are them and it's another way of getting to us. I don't think so though, I don't feel that. They feel very, very powerful. They feel more powerful than those mantids, for sure, for sure. I think it, oh God, I just thought of something weird. Yeah, sorry, it just occurred to me different channels being shut down and why they might be shut down. They don't want us to reach out to gods that might help us. Some people are saying it's the Anunnaki doing this to us. I know Robert Stanley, I respect him a lot. He texted me last night and said it's the Anunnaki, it's the darker ones. I don't know, well, actually, that's the point. Maybe the dark ones do appear like mantids. I mean, what do we know, really? Or maybe it's just their sort of toenail dirt that I saw when I went. It might be. What do we know? We don't know anything. We're like Syrian hamsters in our cages, trying to understand the human world. I mean, would they? They know the stink of the cage. They know the hay. They know their little foods they've got. They can fucky wucky with a little, they can have their kiddie widdies and build a big house. But what do they know about the bigger, wilder world? Nothing. And how can their little minds ever grasp it? So our little minds, we can't understand the Anunnaki, what they actually are, what they look like. We can try, and there's a lot of people out there going, yeah, I know what they, and all that. Just ignore them. They're full of shit. What do they know? We don't know. We can't contact them. We can only try and contact these gods and hope that when something comes through that it is benevolent, and we're not here all alone at the mercy of these mantids. So I'm going to be researching into mantids, and if anybody's got any further information on them, I'd really appreciate that. Now, I don't know what to call this video. I've spoken about 2 serial killers that I know people are very, very interested in. People don't listen to me when it comes to them. It's weird. They don't. They listen to Chris Berry D, who met Bianchi for like 2 minutes, and didn't get any kind of, interaction with her. But they won't listen to me. Strange, isn't it? It's like, really? Say what? I don't know. I don't care. I'm just trying to help. I'm trying to help. I don't want anyone to come and say, oh, did you visit a serial killer? Wow, you must be special. Or shit like that. I'd rather not be known for that. But actually, they're a good way of explaining this. And actually, through Bianchi, I got a look at, and I do think through knowing him for a long period of time, I got a look at that last night, and I feel enlightened. I do. I feel enlightened. I feel I know what's going on. I felt the reality of that, and whatever is coming for us, it wants to eat us. It wants to eat us, and we're chicken. We're like a chicken. Like we have chicken, oh, that's nice, and we bite into it. We don't give a damn that chicken was once alive and maybe had feelings for its chicks or whatever. That's what we are to it. And I was reading, somebody put a blog out on the mantis and said something about how they believe that insects once ruled this place, and that maybe now when we see an insect, like when we see a spider, we freeze, because apparently insects can make their food freeze. Now, that is interesting, because when I was with Bianchi, I felt that go through me just for a second when that side of him appeared. Felt that go through me, and I froze. I froze. These beings are, they're nasty. They're really bad. They're really bad. They are really bad, and their intent towards us isn't the Geneva rules, that sort of, don't get too nasty. Think of what Bianchi did. He all that went on there. That is what they're like. That was no mercy. That was no mercy. That was not even seeing as human. And when I watch, knowing that, and when I watch, the YouTubes of the people fighting like in Brussels and having the riots, I just think you're fighting against that. They're fighting against that, and I just think mate, you haven't got a chance. It just makes me want to cry. Because we haven't got a chance. We're fighting against a supernatural foe. Supernatural foe. They know more than us. Like that appeared to me as a man. You know, I was looking at them and suddenly there was a man talking to me, and so I said, "You're one of them. You're them, aren't you?" And he said, "Yes." I mean, that's how useless my mind is. My mind is a psychic mind, but that's how useless it is. You know, it was one of them, and I didn't know that. You know, we don't know shit, and we are up against this supernatural foe that wants our planet for some reason, and you know, it really could get rid of us in seconds, but it doesn't want to get rid of us in seconds. It wants to have fun. Like Bianchi could have killed its victims, like the bang, Susie got in the door, bang, you're dead. Crept up from behind, put its hand over her mouth, bang, they're dead. I mean, would have been happier for them, wouldn't it? But no, they went in for hour after hour after hour after they vented. These beings want to vet on us. They don't like us. They want to eat us. And they eat our fear. They eat our pain. They eat our suffering. So when they see these riots go on and they see these, you know, men and women throwing things at the police, they're having a right laugh. They are feeding off the pain of the police. You know, they're just individuals doing their jobs. I guess they could hand in the past, but it's a scary world out there. So they're not going to hand in their past. They're just going to do that. They're going to say, well, we need war, and you know, we need order. There's the others saying, oh, you know, they sort of create that. They divide us all up, so we're not strong, and it feeds off it. So we're not just going to get wiped out nicely. It's just going to be slow. It's probably going to go on for years and years and sort of have a sort of Holocaust like concentration camp like suffering. So it can have a feeding frenzy. So they can have a feeding frenzy. It's horrible. It's horrible. I just want to share because I don't like feeling in the dark about what's going on. I think it's the worst thing ever just to live your life, and we live our lives here and we don't really know what's going on. Some people question it, some people don't question it, some people feel really uncomfy, they don't know what's going on. I've always felt really uncomfortable, I didn't know what was going on. Probably because if you don't have love at the start, then you do think, hang on, what's this place all about? But if you have love, then it's like, oh, it's all about love, and then you sort of like a little flower and you blossom and you have your life and your husband and wife and children, you generate love, but you've got to have love at the start to go on that pathway. But if you don't have love, then you kind of wake up to it and you kind of hang on, and it just looks different. You're like not an organic chicken, you're a battery farm chicken, and the battery farm chickens know that the farm owners aren't very nice, and the organic chickens think that the farmer is nice because they're running around on a bit of green. But actually, the farmer doesn't give a shit about either, really. You know, the organic chickens are just used for some other purpose. Somebody once told me that they're there to make the rest of us feel bad. So, yeah, but people have made me feel bad. I remember, you know, I'm still in rented, you know, at my age, it's horrible, it's scary. And, but it does make you get in touch with spirit. So, you know, maybe it's a blessing. Maybe it's a good thing. And, you know, feeling bad when I saw a woman, you know, younger than me, who got this huge house that went back and back and back. And, you know, the husband, the money. And I thought, wow, how she gets that, and the love of the community, and oh, she's so nice. And I just thought, you know, she must wake up in the morning feeling so different from me. You know, I wake up and just immediately click into fear. It's cold, or will I be able to afford to heat? Will I get thrown out of here? You know, somebody might want to sell or whatever. And I click into fear, and just to live and not fear must feel great. But because of it's not, the whole planet isn't in a good space to be living in that bubble of an organic chicken, that it's okay and that it's benevolent, everything's benevolent. Actually, I'm starting, now the heat's been turned up, to feel sorry for people like that. You know, it's almost like they can't see the darkness of the world. And I was thinking last night, what about the mother of that girl, mother, the two girls that were killed, they went to Morocco and they ended up in a shed being beheaded. And I thought, about the mothers of those girls and having to watch that. And they have that visited on them. And it's the world is wrong because we don't seem to even look at that. We don't accommodate that in our minds. So when people get darkness that's here visited upon them, they feel kind of lonely because everyone else is like, oh, Disney World, so happy here, it's wonderful, it's a good life, and it's a great place and all that. But when you have real intense darkness visited on you, you feel lonely because all of a sudden it's like you stop taking that pill that makes you think, oh, it's great here, and with these creatures, I think that's how they stay hidden. I think for a long time we've been somewhere that they've been parasiting off, and I'm glad that I saw them finally, because people were saying things like, oh, reptilians, and I was kind of, I did encounter one astrally, and I thought, is that a real thing or something pretending to be something else? Do I believe in them? I don't know. Maybe. I certainly believe in the Greys. I've encountered them, and I know that that's a cover for something. But to see those mantis, they were for real. They're 100% for real. They were 100% for real, and that just horrified me. I just feel it going through my whole system. Just made me feel really, really sick, and it's made me feel that suddenly I know what's going on. That the enemy isn't something that will keep the Queensberry rules, isn't something that's going to give it to us lightly. It's going to be something that is going to want to torture the shit out of us. It is something that is going to up the heat and watch us boil and just feed off it. It's not that it will laugh, it won't feel it's emotionless, it won't feel anything. It's maybe not its fault. It will just feed off the pain. So that's our future. Anyway, I'm going to end it here. Sorry, I didn't say nicer things.